stop what you're doing right now. I need you to see the shocking financial disclosure that just dropped from the utterly repulsive woke Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. For months, Omar's been telling us how broke she is, how she barely had thousands, let alone millions of dollars. But now, after an investigation into her finances, it's just been revealed that her net worth just exploded 3,500% in 1 year. How does someone go from broke to potentially worth more than most Americans will make in 10 lifetimes in a single year? The answer will make your blood boil. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your very poor Patriot professor, poor as compared to our corrupt politicians, but I'm here to show you each and every day how you are changing the world in ways you never even imagined. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. So here we go. Here's what happened and why this matters to every American citizen who plays by the rules. Back in February 2025, Omar was called out on social media for allegedly being worth tens of millions of dollars. And her response was to mock those claims and call her critics racist and bigots. And it was absolutely ridiculous to claim that she was a millionaire. She said she barely had thousands of dollars, let alone millions. And then she made her biggest mistake yet. She dared people to check her financial statements. Go ahead, see for yourself. See how little money, how poor I am. Well, someone did check, and what they found is absolutely stunning. According to an investigation by the Washington Free Beacon, Omar and her husband, Tim Minette, are now worth upwards of as much as $30 million. Yeah, let me repeat that. Ilhan Omar, the socialist, the cultural Marxist, the Somali immigrant who thinks you should have less of your money while the government takes more because, after all, she herself barely has thousands. Yeah, that same Ilhan Omar who every day wakes up and thinks, how can I convince more people that America is an evil, unjust nation? That very same Ilhan Omar is reportedly worth upwards of $30 million. And it gets worse. That surge in wealth apparently happened in less than a year. A single year. Now, of course, the next question is rather obvious. Okay. How on earth did Omar's wealth explode like that? What's the secret? Let us know, right? Well, it all comes down to her husband, Tim Minette's businesses. Now, at the end of 2023, his two companies, which was one's a California winery and the other's a venture capital firm called Rose Lake Capital. Just months ago, they were worth virtually nothing. And I'm not exaggerating. I think the winery had less than $1,000 in the bank. The venture capital wasn't much better off. But by the end of 2024, something happened. Minette's stake in these companies miraculously ballooned to between $6 and $30 million. The winery alone went from being worth about $15,000, anywhere between $15,000 and $50,000, to upwards of $5 million, again in a year. And then the capital venture firm went from being worth under $1,000 to now up to $25 million. Now, here's what really makes this even more suspicious. Both companies were facing lawsuits from investors claiming fraud. So one investor put $300,000 into the winery after being promised his investment would triple in 18 months. Another cannabis company gave them $3.5 million and only got $1.8 million back. So somehow, mysteriously, all these lawsuits got settled with cash payments in 2024, the very same year their wealth exploded. And ironically, while corrupt politicians are getting rich quick off of our tax dollars, right? Ironically, with the return of Trump, there's actually never been a better time for us, freedom-loving Americans to take control of our financial future. And there's no better way to see your finances flourish than with investing in crypto. We're talking Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and the like. But if you're like me, it's the volatility that intimidates you. It turns you off. The extreme highs are great, but what about the equally extreme lows? Well, gang, guess what? Your experience of that volatility is now a thing of the past. Meet Block Trust IRA. They have a super AI system that Bitcoin Magazine has named the #1 crypto technology platform in the world. That's among 1,500 global competitors. And what that super AI does is it works 24/7 to analyze global market data and predicts with uncanny accuracy the highs and the lows of crypto volatility. So Block Trust IRA then sells at the highs and then buys again at the lows, which mitigates the volatility, all the while you stand to make incredible gains. So that's why I am a proud client of Block Trust IRA. I've got my own account with them, and gang, I can honestly tell you, I love them. Their mission perfectly aligns with President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda, smashing down the barriers between loyal patriots and the financial freedom that you deserve, helping true Americans build impressive wealth in Trump's historic economic boom. So whether you're a teacher, a truck driver, small business owner, or retiree, this is your chance to get into the crypto market with AI mitigating your volatility risk. So what are you waiting for? Click on that link below or visit turleytalkscrypto.com and find out how they can help you join the Trump financial revolution. It's finally giving forgotten Americans access to the greatest crypto wealth opportunity in history. And the best part, for a limited time, they're offering my viewers up to $2,500 in bonus crypto when you open up an account with them. This is amazing, gang. Don't wait. Crypto created 80,000 new millionaires last year. Perfectly legit. Not like Ilhan Omar. Why not you next? Visit turleytalkscrypto.com. That's turleytalkscrypto.com. Now, obviously, this investigation to Ilhan Omar isn't just about one politician getting rich. Big picture here, this exposes an entire system that's rigged against regular Americans while the political elite cash in. There's actually a political theory that explains exactly why politicians like Omar become so wealthy so quickly. It's called the Iron Triangle theory. It's very interesting. So picture this. Politicians, bureaucrats, and special interests form an unbreakable triangle of mutual benefit. So politicians get money and power, bureaucrats get job security and influence, all the while protecting politicians, and special interests get favorable policies and contracts, all the while greasing politicians. So this is what's known as the Iron Triangle politics. When politicians have access to inside information, regulatory power, and the ability to steer government contracts, they can create wealth-generating opportunities that obviously regular Americans will never see. It's like having a crystal ball for the stock market, except instead of stocks, it's government spending, it's policy changes, and it's regulatory decisions. And when you function as the liaison or the mediator between empowering bureaucrats while at the same time giving favorable sweetheart policies and deals and contracts to special interests, you stand to make a boatload of money. And that is exactly what we're seeing in Congress today. The Iron Triangle theory shows us that corruption isn't just about briefcases full of cash. It's about an entire system where public service becomes a pathway to private wealth. It's a business model. I mean, bottom line, politics has become a business model. Most people invest or they become entrepreneurs to become wealthy. Well, we now have a new industry that guarantees you more wealth and power than you could ever have imagined. And it's called politics, particularly congressional politics. Run for office, get elected as a senator or representative, and you now have access to literally trillions of dollars. And you become the best friend of bureaucrats who provide you protection and special interests who provide you with lots and lots of kickbacks. That's the Iron Triangle. Studies of congressional wealth going all the way back to the Civil War era have found that representatives accumulated, on average, 40% more wealth than similar non-representatives during periods of massive government spending and reduced media oversight. Sound familiar? I mean, we've been living through the biggest government spending spree in history, with trillions of dollars flowing through federal agencies with minimal oversight. And so iron triangle theory predicts exactly what we're seeing. Politicians using their positions to create wealth-generating opportunities while ordinary Americans foot the bill. Now, needless to say, calls for a full congressional investigation into Omar's finances are growing by the hour. When someone's wealth increases by 3,500% in a matter of months, either they won the lottery or something foul is afoot. In fact, Omar was recently found to be connected to one of the largest pandemic fraud cases in American history. Over 70 people have thus far been arrested for stealing upwards of $250 million. I was supposed to feed hungry children during COVID, but instead lined the pockets of fraudsters. The scheme was run through an organization called Feeding Our Future, and at the center of it was a Minneapolis restaurant named Safari, and the restaurant basically served as a front for this money laundering operation. And guess who was caught on camera promoting this very same restaurant? That's right, none other than Ilhan Omar herself. In June of 2021, there's actual video of Omar at Safari restaurant supposedly helping to distribute meals to children. Now, Omar's office, of course, claims she had no involvement in the scandal whatsoever, but we now know that Omar's campaign received $5,400 from two individuals who were later implicated in the fraud investigation. So when this came to light, her campaign quietly donated the money to local food shelves. But it got worse. Omar was actually the sponsor of the Meals Act in 2020, which expanded federal food aid during the pandemic. And this is precisely the very legislation that created the opportunities that fraudsters exploited to steal hundreds of millions of dollars, some of which did end up into her campaign coffers. And now on top of all this, we're finding out that her net worth exploded to the tune of tens of millions of dollars in a matter of just months. Something obviously is not adding up, and the calls for a full congressional investigation are only going to get louder. So what do you think? Should Ilhan Omar be investigated? Let us know in the comments section below. And as always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button for breaking news and analysis you're not going to hear anywhere else. God bless. Have you locked in your seat from my America Awakened Masterclass yet? Because seats are filling up fast. This is your shot to grab our Freedom Week discount before the price goes up. This isn't scripted, it isn't safe, and it sure as heck isn't censored. It's real, it's raw, and it's unapologetically patriotic. Just like the early days of Turley Talks that helped ignite a movement. But listen, this discount won't last. Click the link, claim your spot, and join the rising tide of Americans reclaiming faith, family, and freedom. Let's light the fire of liberty and awaken America together.